Hello, and welcome to another episode of Now About That with James and Sarah. I'm James.
And I'm Sarah.
And on this week's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about technology. So we're going to break away from the question and answer sessions we've been having over the last couple of episodes and talk a little bit about like what our favorite technology is, what we like about it, what we want to know more about. Why does your face look like that?
Because that's how my face looks. Why are you being so mean to me?
You're making a very like either you're wincing in pain or you're trying to figure something out.
I was I was looking at my other screen over here, and somebody had sent a question or something in one of my group chats, and I was trying to figure out what the heck they were saying. But it's okay. We're good.
Ooh, let's talk about it on here.
Let's talk about it on here. Uh, it's one of the poly groups I belong to. They're talking about plants.
Plants.
Yes. And so they were talking about oh,
Okay.
we're gonna start a whole plant group chat, and I'm just like, okay. Ooh.
I
There's
would
a
say, did you say please excuse me or please exclude me from that group chat? But the picture behind you literally has flowers all over it,
Yeah, I know.
and the name of the name of each flower. I'm assuming. I don't really know. I can't tell.
It does have the names of the flowers on there. Um, that is my garden bulbs for fall planting poster that Nick got me the first Christmas we were together. And it's not that I don't want to be a part of a plant group chat. I just don't have the space for a garden right now, so I don't have a lot of input. And I don't want to be bringing my jealous behaviors. Like, let me just cast the evil eye on your plants right now because I'm being jealous. So I don't want to do that. So that's why I was saying I don't want to be a part of a plant group chat.
No. Well, did you have anything fun happen over the week?
I had my doctor's appointment.
No.
So I'm gonna have a full hysterectomy. And they were so okay, all right. So for those listening who are following us on this random ass journey, like a full hysterectomy includes the uterus, the cervix, the fallopian tubes, and the ovaries. Okay. And like, the vagina is a canal, right? That ends with the cervix and the uterus. So I was very concerned about like what happens like when they take my cervix out and my uterus out, like is it just open at the end? I was like, this is bothering me because I'm
Yes,
scared that
Sarah.
I just
Yeah, it
have
just
this
opened.
hole
It's just open. You have a hole just into the end.
just into the like just all the way through. So anyway, they calmed that fear and told me that they sew up the end. So I'm just like, but so anyway, so yeah, they like after they remove everything, they just sew up the end of the vagina where I met the cervix, and I'm just like I miss my cervix. But anyway, not all the problems it gives me, but just like I know that there are vulva owning people out there who understand where I'm coming from about like I'm gonna miss my cervix.
No, I'm just laughing. I'm not laughing at that, but I'm laughing at. I looked up how long they've been doing hysterectomies, and it says technically as far back as 50 BC, 50 BC. They've been doing it, and they're according to the writings of an Arabic physician in the 11th century. They were frequently performed when the uterus had prolapsed or inverted.
Ooh,
Yeah, but they started doing them in Manchester, England in 1843. So I hope they would have a good understanding of how to do it by now, Sarah.
there's a lot of things that we don't have good understandings
Oh,
about
that's
still
true.
today. So
That's true. And that leads us to our topic technology.
that's true. It does. It does. Anyway,
So, I mean, that
how
would
was your
be,
week?
it was okay. It was busy. I had a frustrating week for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I need time off. I need to take some time
Probably.
off and not do stuff, but then I still have school stuff that I need to do. So I don't, even if I'm not working, I'm doing school stuff. So I don't have time to take that off. And then we have the podcast. Maybe
I
when
know,
we,
but we're coming close to the end of the season,
I was gonna
so
say, maybe when we go on our little short hiatus after episode 50, I might take some time off. Is that a
okay.
problem? I was gonna say that'll be right around the same time that I have my week off for my one class.
Oh, there you go. I was gonna say I don't know for sure when my surgery date is.
Oh yeah.
I know right now it's gonna be mid to late May or early June at the latest. Oh my
Get it
goodness.
down. Sarah just got a dick pic.
No. It thundered outside and it scared the crap.
Oh.
It was really close.
Well, that's not as exciting as that.
No, I'm not receiving any dick pics because I am not on dating apps anymore.
I mean, that doesn't mean you can't receive dick pics.
That's true, but I've eliminated the biggest cause of dick pics for myself.
All right. Well, do you want to jump into the topic and talk a little bit about some technology?
Yee.
So, the first thing that I want to talk about is, what do you like about technology?
I like that technology provides me entertainment
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and the ability to get back and forth to work.
Yeah. I mean, you have to think about like technology. It's not, and everyone thinks about technology as, oh, my phone, my laptop, my TV, my coffee maker. But it's also like there's technology in your cars, there's technology, like life-saving technology, especially if you have like a what are those heart, what are they called?
Heart problems?
A
Like,
pacemaker.
pacemaker.
If you have, well, I mean, you would have heart problems because if you have a pacemaker, but like if
Yeah.
you have a pacemaker or like a lot of other things that like those are technology. Even a pencil is considered technology.
That's true.
Yeah. But I just thought that it was interesting. I think my favorite thing about technology is the connection that you have, especially now the technology and the internet are like integrated,
Hmm.
and you barely have a piece of technology where you don't have the internet connectivity. So the ability to actually find out something and learn something so quickly now is insane and amazing.
Yeah, I love being able to learn new things on the fly because I remember as a kid not having the internet.
Yeah, and it was
That like I read through the encyclopedias that we had
Yeah.
and then was like, okay, but I still have questions.
right. It's like, well, this isn't updated. I need to know what's going on now. Like this encyclopedia is from like 10 years ago or 5 years ago.
Right.
Even like 2 years ago, it's outdated. That's why it was insane to me when in my last class, we were reading a book and our book was from 2001. I
Yeah.
was like, how is this still current in 2023?
Yeah, that was my problem when I was going through my library classes for my library degree, is that we talk a lot about how important it is to stay up to date, have the most current information, so on and so forth. Like it's really, really important. But a lot of the tools and access to information that we had was old.
Yeah.
Some of it from the 90s.
It's crazy because it was like our last discussion board, or I think it was our discussion board or our last post, we or an assignment, we had to discuss how keeping up on trends was important to the assessment field, like knowledge assessments and stuff, and and like learning assessments. And it's like, but we're doing it using a book that's old enough to drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Like how am I supposed to get the information from the book? So it's like, what's the point even having the book? Thankfully, I didn't have to buy it because it was just, and it's probably because it's so old.
Right.
It was just,
It's probably not even in circulation anymore.
yeah, that's what's weird. It's so weird. It's like, why am I reading a book and learning in a classroom from a book that's old? Like that old. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons I typically will get, if we have a book, I will get the digital version of it, not the actual print version of it. Because if you get the digital version, it gives you a perpetual license. And then anytime it updates, you get the updated version of it too.
That's a good idea.
So it's like, don't give me a book from 2001 to use. That's stupid.
We are.
Yeah. And then, what is your favorite piece of technology that you own?
That's a good question. Honestly, my favorite piece of technology. No, don't look at me like that. My favorite piece of technology is my my Xbox. Even though we were just talking about like outdated stuff, and my Xbox is a 360, and I've had it since Donnie and I got together in 2008.
Yeah. I remember you talking about or I remember coming over and watching you play on the wasn't it the Xbox 360?
Yeah, Xbox 360.
I remember coming over and watching you play. What is that game?
Oh, which one? BioShock, maybe?
Yeah, the one where you had to like
speedy one?
save the children, and I always told you to kill them, or
Yes, that was BioShock.
Yeah, that one.
And I was always like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Meh, I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
And you were like, but didn't Donnie just say that you get more benefits if you kill them? And I'm like,
Right?
shut up.
What's beneficial to you, Sarah? That's what you always have to think about. Come on.
What's beneficial to me? No, I play video games like how I am in real life.
Children first.
Children first.
I think, I think my favorite technology changes. Right now, it's probably my MacBook and getting to learn it and playing around on it and
Hmm.
how like really good it works compared to the other MacBook that I had. I also just sold the MacBook that I bought from Sam.
Hmm.
I was like, why not? It's just sitting around and
Yeah, I mean,
I
if you're
could
not
use
using it,
I could use the extra money anyways, so
there you go.
I did sell it. And now I just have to figure out how to put the freaking cash in my bank because
Uh,
there's not a bank around here and it drives me nuts.
you don't
But
just want to carry around cash all the time?
no, and I don't like spending cash because that means you have to break it up and then you get change, and I hate change and
I
coins.
love change.
I like change, I just don't like coins. I think that's part of the reason I like technology so much because it changes so much.
Mm.
And every piece of new technology, anytime I get something new, I always get really excited and I want to get home and play with it as soon as possible, even if it's as small as getting a mouse. Speaking of, okay, I'm changing my my second favorite piece of technology. I just bought a new mouse for my work computer.
Hmm.
And everybody always has like the issue where they have the like wireless mouse, and then if they have to like go to a meeting, they'll take it with them and they'll leave it there, or they'll lose the little fob or whatever.
Yeah.
I got this awesome mouse. It's called the Microsoft. Hold on, let me check. I have to check. Well, I have to look at Best Buy because that's where I bought it from, and see where your details exactly what it's called, because it's called something weird. The Microsoft Arch Wireless Blue Track Ambidextrous Mouse in black. It's really cool. It's one of them. It's meant for like the Microsoft Surface, which is like a tablet laptop convertible thing.
Hmm.
And so it folds flat and shuts off whenever you fold it flat, and you can store it that way, and it's easier to store. So what I did, and this isn't the first one I've had. I've had the Microsoft Arch, the original one, but it was starting to get really old. But what I did was, like those cell phone credit card holder things that stick on the back of your cell phone.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I took one of those and stuck it to the back of my computer. That way, when I fold it flat, it just sticks in the back of my computer and I can carry it wherever.
Oh, there you go.
And then when I need it, I just pop it out of the thing, pop it to the opened position, and it's going.
There you go.
Love it.
That's pretty great, actually. So I'm weird in that
That could be the end of your sentence.
I'm weird. I mean, it's true. It's true. Like I can't argue with that. In that I think change is really great. I especially like seeing societal changes when they're for the better, things like that. But there's something about technology changes. I started to say technological and then was like, no, I should just say technology. And so that sounded really weird. But anyway, technology changes happen so fast that I don't have time to process the first one before the next one's already there. And so I don't know why, but when it comes to technology, I have a tendency to stick with what I know for a really long time because I'm just like, no, you're gonna change too fast and I can't handle that.
I mean, it is expensive to keep up with technology, but really when you think about it, like especially with phones, there's not really much that changes within like a year span with a phone.
Right.
Like when you think about it, like Apple, the biggest change with Apple was like, yeah, they made their processors work faster with their newest iPhone. But if you're not doing something like hardcore with your phone where you need to have that faster processor, you're not going to notice that much of a difference. And like the the cameras on the back, they changed a little bit. I had the 12 Pro Max
Hmm.
and it was very similar, but I mean, yeah, the camera is a lot better. But again, if you're not using your camera for like content creation, or you don't take photographs with your camera to actually like sell or do something crazy with them, if you're just using them for like the regular consumer doesn't need to keep up with the small updates that they're making. If you have like maybe a 10 and the 14 comes out, so 4 years later, that makes sense to where you'd want to, okay, maybe start looking at maybe getting a new one, because your 10 is probably getting slower. The battery is probably not as great. And then you'll notice like those differences a lot better. But just going from like each year, it's excessive, and I'm bad about it, because most of the time, every year the new iPhone comes out, I do want it. Although I did skip a year from 2022. I didn't get a new no 2021, I didn't get a new phone. And then I had the 12, and then I just got the 14.
Yeah, I remember in 2021. So I was gonna say, I think you gave me money for a new phone because you were like, I'm not getting a new phone. You might as well get a new one.
um, but I mean, so that was, what is your favorite piece of technology? So what is there something that you wish you knew more about technology?
It's weird because on the one hand, I want to say, well, I want to understand more about how the technology I use works,
No.
like on the inside, not just like how I use it. But at the same time, I don't want to know that because I don't have enough brain capacity for it.
So that's not true. You have you have unlimited brain capacity. It's being able to access it is where the issue runs in.
Yeah. It's just like I already have so much stuff in my head that I'm not using,
Yeah.
that I'm just like, man,
A lot of people are like, "Oh, if I learn this, I have to forget something else." It's like, not really. I mean,
that's how it's gonna work for me, but
it gets harder to recall things, and that's kind of why, like, when you think about it, like, and this is really going off topic, but when you think about it from like Alzheimer's,
Right.
or dementia, they remember things like the way that they were way back. Like, they most often it represents itself as like thinking it's like 20 years ago, and
Yeah,
their wife or significant other is still alive, and they're looking for that person because they don't know that the time has changed and that person has passed, so they
right.
don't remember. Their short-term memory is what is kind of glitching out
Failing.
a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit. Yeah. Again, weird conversation.
But I mean, but technically on point
Yeah.
because the human body is very interesting from a technological point of view as well.
Yeah.
We borrow a lot of inspiration from the human body when we're making some of the tech, and some
That's
of the
true.
tech that we're making involves the human body to begin with.
Yeah, that's true. So there are some like automation stuff that I wish I knew how to do from a technological standpoint. So like sometimes I will have to do something in like Excel or something like that. And I'm like, there has to be a way to automate this to where all you have to do is like push a button and it'll just do this automatically. I don't know how to do that. I wish I did, and I probably could learn how to do that if I took the time to sit down and kind of watch it. I hope you can't hear that, but there's a freaking fire truck driving by.
I can't hear it, so I think, oh, now I can because now I'm like focusing.
It literally just went by the window. I mean, thankfully, I'm in the bedroom, so that doesn't matter. And then, I mean, I want to, like, I was looking on Facebook Marketplace because I downloaded Facebook again so that I could
So
list the MacBook, yeah. And I've been looking on Marketplace, and I'm like, ooh, there's a Mac, like an iMac, like a desktop Mac. That
mm,
they're like, you could buy. It's selling for like $80 or something like that because there's something wrong with it and they don't have the ability to fix it. And I was like, I've been watching this. There's a kid on TikTok. I'll have to figure out his name. But he's like in his early 20s, and he owns a repair store down in Florida. And he talks about all the stuff that he shows himself like fixing things, and people send it in and he fixes it on TikTok and YouTube. His name is the Bomb 602. I like him a lot. He's fun to listen to.
mm.
It's fun to watch him take apart the devices and fix them. There's also Hugh Jeffries on YouTube. I love watching Hugh Jeffries videos because he'll like show you how to take apart the video or the phone. Anytime a new phone comes out, he takes it apart and shows you how easy or hard it is to repair them. So he like looks at it from a repairability and a sustainability standpoint. And it's like, if it's difficult for a person, like a regular owner, to fix, then he rates it as a really low repairability. Because like with the new iPhone, you have to buy like a heat plate to loosen the glue to actually get it to where you can take it apart. I remember like even what was it, 9 years ago in 2011, I had a BlackBerry. No, it was 2012. I had a BlackBerry, and I switched from my BlackBerry to my iPhone, or my Samsung Galaxy Note 2. I think it was the 2 at the time. Loved it. It was crazy. I mean, you could still, like, with those phones, you could just pop the backs off of them and take the batteries out.
Yeah.
Now you have to like buy special devices to heat the glue up, and then you have to like pull. It's usually glued, taped in, so that you can't, like, adhesive to where you can't just like pop it out.
Right.
It's crazy. And I understand from like there's 2 points of that. It's like it makes it more secure and more waterproof, so that there's less likely damage that can occur. But it makes it harder from a person that, like, when your battery does start to fail and you don't want to buy a new phone, how am I supposed to replace it? Where back then you could just go to the store or go to like Radio Shack,
Right.
go to Radio Shack or a store and buy a new battery and just replace the battery, and your phone was still fine.
Yeah. I think like that's one of the things that I don't like about technology shifting, is that with a lot of the technological advances, sometimes it creates this space where regular people are not able to fix it on their own. They're not able to, correct these issues by themselves, and then that leads to more money being put into this thing, and then like a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, it also kind of, I remember in high school, like when, well, getting into the next topic is like when the first iPhone was released, June of 2007. I remember when that first iPhone was released, I wanted it so bad.
I remember.
And like it was just it hurt so much when this one kid just like walked in. He's like, "Oh, I got the new iPhone." It's like there's no way my family could have afforded to buy me an iPhone.
Right.
So it was like, it shows like from that level, it kind of brings more separation of the classes, and like adding more of the, oh, my family has more money than yours. When you can't, I mean, nowadays smartphones are very inexpensive. I won't say cheap, because they're not, but they're more inexpensive than they were at the time.
Yeah.
Where you can go in and pay like $150 and you can get a pretty decent, inexpensive smartphone that does all the things, not all the things, but most of the things that a regular consumer would need to do. So it's like nowadays it's not that difficult, but it is kind of like, and that's kind of a societal thing where, oh, if you don't have the newest one, you're looked down on.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? But then again, it goes back to what we were saying over the last couple of episodes. It was when you asked me if I had a nemesis, or
do you have a sworn enemy?
A sworn enemy. And it's like, again, you have to think about it from like your standpoint, as why are you going to let what someone else thinks bug you that much? It's like, who cares? Like, that's not going to change your life. The fact that they think you look stupid or ridiculous because you have a phone that's 2 years old and you don't have the newest phone.
Right.
I mean, I do start judging people when they have a shattered phone, and there goes Sarah.
I forgot to have my alarm set, my bad.
Like, I don't judge people, but I'm like, you have a shattered phone. Why do you have a shattered phone? Get a new phone.
Yes, I know. I'm doing the thing. I promised.
Yeah, but I mean,
he's looking at me with the judgment eyes because I have the shattered phone.
I've never had a shattered phone, knock on wood.
This is my first fully shattered phone.
Yeah.
Like, I've previously never had a shattered phone.
I think to like my sister, she's like, I think in 1 year I bought her 3 new phones because she broke the one she had, like by dropping it. And one time she did get into an accident and dropped it in a river. Like, well, not dropped it in a river. The car was submerged in a river.
Right. I remember that.
I got water damage. So I had to get a new phone. I didn't have to. I got her a new phone because she didn't have one. But it's like, how do you not take care of your phone, especially if it's someone else bought it for you? And this is not a dig to you, Sarah. Don't think of it as one. If someone else bought it for you, you would want to take even more care to not break that phone
Right.
because like it makes it look like you don't care about how that other person feels, or
Yeah.
it doesn't care. You don't care about the gift that person gave you.
Yeah, you didn't care about it enough to take care of it. And I know that's not a dig at me
Yeah,
because the other the other phone you gave me, I still
I
have.
know. Yeah. and
So,
and I didn't buy that phone for you. I gave that phone to you
I
because
know.
I had finished using
I know,
it.
but still though, you gave
Yeah,
it to me.
yeah.
Like I did, like my phone was already headed out the window at the time anyway. I don't even remember what phone I had. I've had this one for so
It
long. I
was
don't
the
even remember what I
Fire,
had.
the Amazon Fire
Oh my God, you're right. It was the Amazon Fire.
that was lighted on fire garbage.
That was such a terrible phone.
It was, and I think they lost like. Let me look and see because they lost a lot of money.
Well, you couldn't do anything with it. Like it was basically just a brick. Like you couldn't download any apps to it because none of the apps were compatible with the iOS system. Like it had not a lot of storage space. The camera was okay, but like
They reported a $170 million loss on Amazon Fire phones. And it's because it was a big flop because of that, what you're saying there. You had to buy the apps from their Amazon store. You couldn't buy like iOS they won't let you use anything other than Apple. But you couldn't access the Google Play Store. You couldn't do anything. You had to buy anything you wanted app wise from the Amazon store,
yeah.
and none of the apps on the Amazon store none of the apps were they weren't configured to work with that phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It was a mess.
yeah, that's something that I kind of am realizing now. We have a shuttle service at my work that people can use to like instead of having to walk or ride the bus, they can take the train, and then the shuttle service picks them up at the train station and brings them to work.
Hmm.
And they have an app to let them know like where the stops are, how long, like the estimated time that it will come to pick them up.
Yeah.
And then so they have it for Apple and Android. And I was trying to help Alita, our site admin, who's amazing. I was trying to help her put together like a little sheet about the different apps and how people can get to them. And I
Hmm.
looked for it on the business phone because I have an Android for my business, for this business now, about that productions. And then my personal phone's an iPhone. I found it on the iPhone, but I couldn't find it on the Android.
Mm.
So I emailed the company. I was like, hey, I work for Boston Scientific. I'm trying to download or trying to find this app on the Google Play Store and I can't locate it. Can you send me, or do you know if they created one for the Google Play Store? And if so, can you send me a link to go to it? So they sent me the link and I click on it on the phone and it gives me an error message because the application was created for an older version of Android. So they're not updating the app
Oh.
as the versions of Androids change, which it's a Google Pixel 7 Pro. So it is a newer phone, but most people will have a newer phone. Like, not most people. A lot of people will have a newer phone, or they have updated their Android platform to the
Yeah.
new operating system.
Yeah.
So that means all of those people have lost access to the app who have an Android. Apple, it's fine. Android is where it's like they've lost access to.
Right.
So I emailed them back and I was like, just so you know, this application isn't working on a newer version of Android. So you might get with your IT people and figure that out because we're paying a lot of money to use this service.
Hmm.
So we should have, and I'm sure part of the contract is a working application for people to use.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So the only other thing I had on here was talking about personal computers. So I talked a little bit about the first iPhone. The first Android was unveiled in November of 2007. But it wasn't available for the public to purchase until September of 2008. So it was almost a full year. People had to wait to buy an Android if they wanted to buy an Android. Which, if you think like that now, it's like that phone would fail by the time, like, people would have moved on by now, because
Yeah, people would have moved away on by now. Wait,
another phone would have already been dropped, and another company would have already come in and like, oh, that phone's outdated now. So
another 2 phones would have dropped in
yeah.
time. Like,
and then the other thing I had looked up a little bit was the acronym PC for personal computer. And when the first PC was actually sold. So in 1968, Hewlett Packard advertised their powerful computing genie as the new Hewlett Packard 9100A personal computer, but they changed it to HP 9100A programmable calculator because the advertisement, according to their people, seemed too extreme for the target audience.
okay.
So in 1968, Hewlett Packard initially advertised it as a personal computer, but then they changed it to a programmable calculator. So technically, the first personal computer, or PC, that was commercially marketed and sold was not until 1977, and it was the Apple II.
Wow.
Craziness.
One of my family friends, who's now since passed away, he helped develop a computer game back in the day, for, I believe it was the Commodore 64.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he created a game called Apple Cider Spider, and basically it looks a lot like the old Donkey Kong games where Donkey Kong's throwing the barrels down.
Yeah.
And like you're supposed to jump over them. It's kind of like that, like one of those styles. But I'm just like, man, Apple II. And then moving on, we had so many different things. And then I remembered Commodore 64. So
yeah, I think one of the earliest pieces of technology I can remember having is, I mean, aside from those little, anytime I asked for a computer for Christmas, my parents would always give me like the stupid like 99-cent store one. Mom was probably like, I say stupid, it was probably like $40. My parents bought me this gift, and we were poor, so $40 was a lot.
Right.
But it was like the child's computer where you can like maybe type something, but you can't really do anything with it.
Yeah.
Which it was fine. I mean, it was fun when I was a child. I was like, I think I was 12 when I started asking for my first computer, and I was like, I want a laptop. We have them at school. Why can't I have one for home?
Right.
So I was like, I want a laptop. And then like I remember the Game Boy. Oh, I loved that.
Oh yeah.
Those like that's why I was seriously thinking, like, especially during COVID, everybody got a Switch. I was like, I might get a Switch because I liked playing the Game Boy, and that was like the only thing that I don't like the whole. I'm not a huge fan of the whole like PlayStation, Microsoft, or not Microsoft, Xbox, those things. I don't really care about that. I wouldn't get into like PC gaming or anything like that. It's like those like easy like back and forth Mario, those games, or Zelda. Those games are the ones that I liked to play when I was little.
Mm-hmm.
So like getting a Mario game. Even on my phone, I have this really not sponsored fun game called Tribe Boy that's very Mario-esque.
Okay.
I've completely finished all of the levels and I have nothing else to do. So every day they give you like there's 3 challenges you get, and for each challenge you get a certain amount of coins, and then at the end you get 1,000 coins if you get all 3 for the day.
Yeah.
So I tried to play and see if I can get all 3 challenges done for the day.
There you go.
I mean, it's fun.
I remember when we got our first computer, we got our computer through a homeschooling program.
Oh yeah, you said that. Yeah.
Because I was homeschooled at the time, and it was such a big deal. And I remember all it had on it had basic solitaire, and it had the pinballs.
Yeah.
And then Minesweeper. Which who the fuck even knows how to play Minesweeper?
It's very difficult. So you have to figure out where the bombs are, and typically the bomb is like next to the higher the number, the more likely the bomb is. And if you think you found a bomb and you have to put a flag there. And when you either, the way you win it is by flagging all the bombs without setting them off, but the more flags you have where a bomb is, the more points you get.
Okay.
That's what Minesweeper was.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until like probably maybe 7 years ago.
I didn't know that until you just told me.
Yeah, it is a very
So
odd game, and it was like
it's
all
I
you
just
did.
remember like trying to figure it out, and I always
like,
thought maybe I was like, okay, maybe the numbers are like how many blocks away it might be.
yeah,
So then I would like try to like do that. No, I never understood. I was just like, this makes no sense.
yeah,
And we also had MS Paint.
yeah.
So like I used that a lot as a kid for whatever reason. I was just like, oh, let me just draw on the computer. I'm so fancy.
I remember doing that, and like I would always use the shapes and make like those paintings where it's like each shape was a different color, so it was very geometric.
Oh yeah. So my favorite thing to do was create the curves. So where you would click from one point to another and then you pulled it out. I loved doing that. And also creating my own color shades. So I remember I made like very specific shades of pink that I used like all the time.
I guess what else? So when was the first time you had like your personal email address?
I still have my first email address. I never use it.
Is it the Dauntless Free Sparrow one?
DauntFreeSparrow18@yahoo.com. If you email me there, I'm not gonna respond.
These people don't even email us at our regular our business email account, Sarah. No one's listening to this and emailing us.
I'm just saying, if by some miracle somebody decides they want to email DauntFreeSparrow18@yahoo.com.
I even for a short time had my personal cell phone number on our business website.
I saw that.
So it was like no one texted me or contacted me from that. So it's like the possibility of someone listening to this and sending you at your personal email address an email is slim to none.
Slim to none. I know. But anyway, I got that email address when I was like, wait, because Pirates of the Caribbean was out, which is the reason for the sparrow part. So let's see, that was Pirates of the Caribbean, the Curse of the Black Pearl came out in 2003. So I got that email address right around that time frame, and that was my first email address.
This is insane. My first email address was spelled incorrectly, first of all. But it was, and I think you're the one that pointed it out that it was spelled incorrectly to me.
Probably.
So
that's like me.
It was supposed to be Desperate Boy 420. I didn't know what 420 meant. I just thought, oh, everybody keeps saying it. I'm gonna put it in my email address and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
But it was spelled, and you pointed this out. You're like, that's D-Sprite Boy.
Yeah.
It was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So, and it was to go into the little chat rooms on AOL and chat with people.
Yeah, because that's what we did back then.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just chat with people, schedule some meetups, and hang out with someone that you just randomly met online. I never did that, but
I can't say that I never did that, because technically I did. I moved in with people I had only met on the internet.
You did that this year.
I know, I did that this year too.
I've never done that, but I've also never lived with you were kind of my roommate in Bloomington, but
off and on.
I never actually had like a roommate. I mean, there's Ryan, but that's different.
Yeah, it's different when you're in a romantic relationship with the person that you're sharing a space with.
Although he might have to sleep in the other bedroom. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I think the first time we had, like, I never had an actual laptop myself. The first laptop I had, I bought myself in, I think it was 2015, which is insane. No, it wasn't. It was 2009 or 2008. I bought and I don't even think it was an HP. It was like one of those like Acer, not Acer. Like a cheap Walmart laptop.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have a laptop. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay. I'm trying to figure out what the name of it is. Acer. That's what it is. Did I say Acer?
You did.
Oh, I don't think it was Acer then, because that's not like that's a pretty well known. It's not Asus. I don't know, but it was just like a cheap garbage laptop that was really inexpensive, and I wanted it to type or so I could have a laptop. It may have been Acer. I know it was an A at least.
It probably was Acer.
Yeah, probably. And then like before that, we had my sister had a desktop computer. And then we would always go to Walmart and get those like free AOL, like you get it for like 7 days. You can have AOL for free for 7 days.
Yeah.
And then you hook up a phone line to the back of your, and that annoying noise to connect to the internet.
Oh my God. Waiting for the internet to connect.
Yeah.
And then like if somebody picked up the phone, it knocked you off. Mom, I was using that for school. Sorry. Like, oh, that was a mess.
And it was never for school.
It was never for school. But we're not telling my mother that.
And then, I mean, I bought the first computer that wasn't the laptop that I bought was an HP like all-in-one computer for like, I think I got it from someone for like $150 or like $100 on Facebook Marketplace.
There you
and
go.
That was when I lived in the apartment in Bloomington.
Yeah. My first laptop, Sam actually gave me. Sam has been the one who gave me both of the laptops that I have had. And that was because my computer had died. My computer had finally given up the ghost.
Yeah.
It's a Frankenstein computer anyway. I still have it, all the pieces for it, but it doesn't work anymore.
I remember when I got my laptop, I brought it to you, and Donnie put a hijacked version of Windows, not Windows, but like the Microsoft Suite on my computer.
Yeah.
so that I could type. And then like a couple years later, it was wanting me to sign in, and I was like, well, shoot, I don't know what to do. I didn't have it, so then I just had to buy my own. And now it's like, I think it's like $10 a month. I don't even remember. Like, I don't even notice it coming out of my paycheck now.
Wow.
For Microsoft 365.
I get it through school.
I mean, I think I could get it through school, but it doesn't have as many features on it or something like that. I don't know. I can also get it through my work for free, but my nephew also uses it. So
there you go. Wow, the temperature just dropped like dramatically. It was 83 degrees outside up until like 3 minutes ago, and now it's 76 degrees.
Oh, it's been in the 60s all day today. Now it's 53.
No, it's still storming out there pretty hardcore. So
well,
oh my God. You just got me reminiscing about like my old email address and like all this stuff.
Do you remember the first cell phone you had?
Yes.
Was it the Amazon Fire?
No. Well, that was my first smartphone.
Oh yeah. Well, was that one really smart?
No, I take it back. That was not my first smartphone. My first smartphone was an iPhone 7.
I doubt it. It would have been like a 4.
Was it a 4? Hold on.
It would have been something like that, because that came...
No. It was an iPhone 3G.
Okay, I was gonna say it couldn't have been a 7, because that they skipped like I think 3 options.
Yeah, but I had an iPhone 3G. It was the first smartphone I had, because prior to that, I had one of those little flip phones that I literally just used to text.
No. The very first iPhone, or the very first phone I had, was one of those like Nokia phones that you could like throw across and hit someone and the person would die.
Yes. You could use it to jack up your car.
we had T9 texting, which I still don't understand. It was like predictive texting at the beginning, so you just had to hit the number and then choose the correct letter, choose the correct option. And then, I mean, I'm the kind of person that I switch out cell phones, and I get a new cell phone often. So I went from my Nokia, I loved that phone, and then it had Snake. Everybody loves Snake.
Everybody loves Snake.
I had this other like little weird Nokia that had a flashlight on the top of it for some reason, but it still, like, the screen was black and white.
Right.
It wasn't a color screen, but that was in like 2006. I got it from like Walmart for prepaid.
Yeah.
And then I got my dad to get us phones one year, and I had a Sony Ericsson flip phone that I loved it. It was so cool. I really wanted the Motorola Razr because it was the same time that the Motorola Razr came out. But then I was
Yes.
like, this one, my dad was like, well, this one's free. You'll get this one. I was like, fine.
Yeah.
So I got that one, and then I got myself the Motorola Razr in like 2008 or something like that. And then in 2009, I got my first, no, it wasn't a BlackBerry. I had a Sony Ericsson, like one of the slider phones.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They
Yeah, I
were
remember
amazing.
that.
I have to
Remember
pause
that.
real quick because Bobo needs to go out. He's been sleeping. So I will be back.
Okay.
I'm going to pause the recording too. So you don't even have to vamp, Sarah.
Yes.
All right. So I was talking about my phone.
Yes.
And I think the last one I left off on was the Sony Ericsson slider phone.
Yes.
And that was really the last, like, not it, because I had a phone before I got my BlackBerry that wasn't a smartphone, but it was a, I think they call them multimedia phones, where it had the full QWERTY keyboard,
Oh, yeah.
but it wasn't technically a smartphone.
Right.
I can't remember what it was
I
called.
remember when you had your BlackBerry.
Oh my god, I loved my BlackBerry.
I remember when you had your BlackBerry. Because I remember using it when I was laid up in the hotel room after my car accident to like make my first Facebook post that wasn't on a computer.
I had so before the BlackBerry, well, I had two BlackBerries, but before my first BlackBerry, I had it was like a Samsung phone that slid to like show like the full keyboard. I can't remember what it was called though.
Oh, I have no idea.
It wasn't the bright side. Samsung slider phones. That's not it.
Well, while you're trying to look for that, I was just reminded that Jerry Springer died.
Oh yeah, Ryan texted me that yesterday.
And I was just like, and since we're already talking about like old time things, just thinking about Jerry Springer, sick days, things like that.
I thought it was called something specific, but apparently it's not, because this is the one that I had, which you can't see this, but it's, oh, the Propel, yeah. Samsung A767 Propel.
Okay.
And it was just like, it was like a massive phone, and it had like the big, it was probably like maybe, I say big, it was probably like maybe a 2-inch color screen. And then you slid it up to actually message. And then I got my first BlackBerry. And I don't remember what number it was, but it was like, ooh, BlackBerry Curve. Yep, that's what it was. So it was a maroon BlackBerry Curve, and it had like the little trackball in it that was garbage because after using it for a little while, it would get gunked up.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't work. Like it kept getting stuck. I think I took it and they had them replace it several times, and they did. And then I got the BlackBerry Bold, which again was one of my favorite cell phones I ever had. And it still had the ball in it, and it would still get gunked up and not work. And then I went from BlackBerry to my Samsung Note, and then smartphones just took off from there.
Yeah.
My Note, I think at some point I had an iPhone 3GS.
Yeah.
And I got really mad. I think it was in like 2011 or something. Maybe I went from my BlackBerry to, no, I don't know when I had the iPhone.
I don't remember when you had it, but I remember you having it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I went from it, and like I got annoyed because I had my iPhone and the battery or something stopped, or no, it wasn't making sound. So I had to drive up to Indianapolis to have them look at it at the Apple store. And they gave me a new one, or they fixed it or whatever. They gave me a replacement. And less than a week later, the replacement wouldn't charge. So I had to, less than a week later, drive up. Ooh, I do know when it was, because the second time I had to drive up is when the first Apple iPad was released in 2010. So I must have gone from the Samsung to an iPhone 3GS, then to the BlackBerries. 3G. Yeah, that's what happened. So I went from the Samsung, I had to have gotten the 3GS probably in 2009. Or no, it was probably in 2010. And then I had to go up and get it fixed, because I had to drive up there twice to get it fixed. And then I went from that to the BlackBerries to the Samsung. And I had Samsung, the Note. I think I had the Note 2 and then the Note 5 that I gave you. And then I got which
I still have.
Yeah. And then I bought my iPhone 6 6S Pro or 6S Max in, I think it was like 2016, because I had to switch from an iPhone, or switch from my Samsung to an iPhone because they didn't, my work didn't support getting my email on the Note for some reason. And I've been with an iPhone ever since.
Here we are.
And that brings us to today.
And that brings us to today. Unlike you, I don't remember the names of all the phones I had.
I obviously didn't either. I had to look up a couple of them.
I mean, you remembered like the majority.
Yeah.
Like, but me, on the other hand, I'm over here like, I had a flip phone for a really long time. I had the iPhone 3G and it pissed me off all the time. And then
You had the iPhone 3G for a very long time. I remember that.
I had it for over a year.
Because I think you got it after I had switched and hated iPhone at the time.
Yeah.
Because of the issue I had with it. And
yeah, because I
then,
remember you telling me, like, warning me about like issues and stuff like that
Yeah.
with it. And then I did end up having a lot of issues with it. It randomly factory reset 3 times, I think. And I lost, at the very last time that I did it was after my Aunt Peggy died. And so I had saved like 3 of her voicemails in my phone. And I was like listening to them when I was like, while I was grieving, and it factory reset and deleted those last voicemails from her. And I swore I'd never have another iPhone, and I haven't since.
ooh, I remember the biggest issue I had with phones. This was back when I had my flip phone, and I was on my dad's plan when we first got our phones. I didn't realize it cost to use the internet
Oh.
on my phone. And it was like, back then it was like you had to pay per megabyte of internet you use or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And 1 year or 1 month, the bill came and it was $1,200. And my dad was like, well, we won't have phones anymore. Because he couldn't afford to pay that. And
Oh
I
my
think
God.
I think he did call them and they cut it down. Like, I think they cut it in half, but it was still like, he still couldn't afford to pay that.
Yeah.
So our phones got shut off. So I was without a phone for a little bit. And this was like in 2006, 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2008 is when I got my first cell phone on my own plan. And I think that was when I got my first cell phone on my own plan. And that's when I got the Razr. I remember now buying the Razr it felt really weird that it was only like, it was a really inexpensive Razr, and they were still really popular at the time.
Oh yeah.
And I want to say it was like maybe a couple $100 instead of like the normal like 400 or something like that. It was just like $100. And it was a red one, which is the one I wanted.
Of course.
But that's it. Technology is fun. Do you have any like closing remarks you want to say about technology?
It's great when it works.
Oh yeah, definitely great when it works. Terrible when it doesn't work.
Right.
That was part of the reason I was in such a garbage mood on Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.
Yesterday. It was like I got to work. It was just like anything anyone said to me, I was annoyed for some reason. Traffic was terrible. And then I got to work and I went to go start using my computer. And for some reason, every time when I first start up my computer at work, my email, it takes like an hour for it to start working. And a lot of what I do is dependent on my email.
Right.
And I'm like, so I messaged, and like, it's weird because Teams works perfectly fine, but my Outlook wasn't working. And like, I had the little like symbol down at the bottom instead of the Wi-Fi tower or the Wi-Fi signal strength. It was just the world with the no symbol in it, showing that you don't have internet access. But for some reason, my Teams was still working. So I was mad and I was like, I have to hotspot to my phone at a multi-billion-dollar company to get my email to work while I'm at work.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. Oh my God. We've been trying for the last, at my work, the massage therapists use iPads to, work on the clients. It's like works as their timer, all that jazz is how they take notes of like what needs to be focused on, that kind of thing. So we've had 3 iPads that I have been trying to get back on to our Wi-Fi, okay? But it keeps asking me for a password.
Yeah.
And so I've been going back and forth with IT. And first they were like, oh, well, it has to be added onto the inventory. And I was like, okay, so how do we add it onto the inventory? And they're like, oh, well, we need the serial numbers. And I was like, okay, cool. So I send them the serial numbers. And then they're like, oh, well, we have to do this and we have to do that. And it's been over a month and the iPads are still not hooked up to our Wi-Fi.
That's insane.
And it's just like, okay, that's how it is. So that's why I was saying it's great when it works.
Yeah. Well, are you doing anything fun this weekend?
Oh, I am babysitting Bobo.
Oh.
My Bobby.
I was like, you're not babysitting Bobo. He's right here.
No. Your Bobo is there. My Bobby is here.
Well, that's fun. Anything else? Are you doing anything else?
Not really. I think we're gonna chill on the couch and watch movies.
No. I mean, it sounds like if it's storming, that's probably a good time to do that.
Yeah. What about you?
I started my new class this week, so I probably need to figure out what I need to do for it. I haven't even logged in and done anything because I've been in such a terrible mood based on my last class with that last instructor, but I can't let that affect my mood. Even though I don't know why I'm still in such a terrible mood, I still got a 93.
Right.
I lost 7% of my overall grade.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So I mean, so I'll do that. And then I was doing something for work that I created an e-learning, and for some reason, I don't know what's going on. And I asked someone to look into it and they haven't looked into it yet. But when I'm working remote, I cannot publish an e-learning to our system. It only works when I'm on site. And I'm like, when I'm on site, the internet is junk. So I don't understand it.
Right.
So I'm thinking I may drive into Quincy tomorrow and do that, but it's a long drive for just to publish an e-learning. But hey, I might do that tomorrow. And then Sunday, I think last week Ryan and I talked about it, and we were going to go see Evil Dead Rising, but then we decided not to the day of. So we might go see it this weekend, but I don't know.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, today's Friday, so we might go see it Sunday. But I don't know. I might not. Depending on the weather. Oh, that was the other thing that made me so mad on Thursday. So yesterday, I had originally had my car scheduled to get looked at, and I called to just confirm that my schedule, like my time was still like what my time was, because I never received like a notification letting me know that I had an appointment, which if I call and make the appointment, I don't. If I make it online, I do. So I don't know why they don't do the same thing. But I called and she was like, oh, you were the next person on my list. We're short technicians today, so we're not going to be able to look at your car tomorrow. Is there any way you could we could look at it next week? Any day next week? I'm like, I guess. I really want to get my car fixed, but sure, why not? And then I walked out because I walked away, and then I walked out and I looked at Karen and I was like, I'm gonna drive my car into that river because I work right next to a river. Did I drive you up and show you where I work?
No.
Have I sent you a picture of it?
You've sent me some pictures, yes,
Okay.
from the office. But no, you did not take me up there.
It's a really beautiful view, and it could look even nicer with a 2017 Ford Explorer just parked right in the middle of it.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I know you think so.
I mean, it would look fine. I think it would be a fun little piece. Maybe they could make, Florida just sank a ship to make coral. We could make a new reef, and it could be a 2017 Ford Explorer.
I don't think that's how that works. In
Sure
local waters.
It is the ocean, like it's water from the ocean, so it is salt water.
No. I'm just gonna say no. Okay?
I mean, it could be funny. Someone could see it as funny. I would. My insurance company might not. They might see it as fraud.
Your insurance company would not.
All right. Well, you want to call it a podcast?
Yeah, I think it's a podcast.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this week's episode of Now About That with James and Sarah. If you like this episode, please like, comment, follow, and subscribe. And please leave a review in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen, as this will help get the podcast out to more people and help us grow. Feel free to follow us on social media. Our Instagram and Twitter handle are at Now About That Pod. And if there is a specific topic that you would like us to discuss on the podcast, feel free to email us at nowaboutthatpod@gmail.com or visit our website, www.nowaboutthatproductions.com. Also, you can give us a call or text with any questions you would like us to discuss on the podcast. Our phone number is 765-557-4170. And thanks again for listening, and we hope you have a great week, since this will be coming out on a Monday. And Sarah, have a good weekend.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.